Good morning, everyone. Welcome once again to our Friday morning LinkedIn Live show with Adrian and Yen.
Good morning, happy Friday, and is this our last show for the year? It is.
It is the last
It
show
is
for
our
the
last
year.
show for
There
the
might
year.
be a bonus one. Let's see whether we can squeeze one out even as
For
well.
the end of the year, like
of
when
the
you're
year.
back from your holidays.
Let's see. I have no idea.
Yeah,
but,
no promises. No promises.
Yeah, but welcome once again to our Friday morning show. We want to thank all our listeners on Spotify, especially. Thank you for making us what we are. We really enjoy your feedback on us when you listen to us on Spotify, as well as those who are watching us on our LinkedIn Live show. So thank you very much for tuning in. It's been a long.
It's been a long journey.
A long journey. And
We
it's so
really
exciting.
appreciate your following us and liking and pressing the like button and also commenting. So thank you very much for all of that.
Yeah, and it's amazing. On Spotify, we are now at episode, I lost track.
79.
70, ish, So it's amazing. I read somewhere that says that if you do a podcast and you go past episode 24, you're considered.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, gosh, was there that many topics to discuss? I
Next
mean,
year.
who knew? But yes, life is complicated. Careers are complicated, and there's always going to be something to discuss. And we hope to bring you fresh content in 2024.
Yes, and if you have any ideas, please feel free to bounce it over, and we're happy to put it.
Not
as our
so much
discussion.
ideas. I think that we do have ideas, but if you have any concerns or any questions or any specific issues you'd like us to deep dive a little bit more, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and as the year comes to a close, today is the last month of the year, and
Yeah.
We
Let's
are-
talk about slowing down.
so all this happened when I had a client who was feeling a bit browned out, nearly toasty at the
Toasty
edges.
at the edges. Yeah.
Okay, and she said, I need to slow down, but my company is not slowing down. They're speeding things up. And she asked me, can I just chill?
You know, I in my head, when you were telling me about this specific individual, I was just thinking about how the slaves were dragging these big blocks to build the pyramids, and then there's this overseer with a whip, and it was like just whacking, and then you know that the people are running out of steam, and yet they just keep whacking, and you're like, why would you bother? It's not gonna work.
But
Yeah,
it works.
it's-
It works. They still have to work to escape the slave master's lash. They will have to work. So the lash works.
Anyway, sorry to digress, but it's really true that sometimes as you are feeling a little bit burnt out, but the infrastructure, the environment around you, it keeps pushing you to finish the year strong, or there's a lot more pressure. I mean, what do you do? So that's our topic for the day. You know, is it okay to slow down?
And before we head on to our program proper, I wanted to highlight to you that on January 13th next year, which is 2024, we are having a full day event called the Career Success Workshop at SPH Auditorium.
Yeah, it's going to be full of information, new content really, but it's not a career fair. We want to make sure that we help you be the best that you can be and plan for 2024. So we've got a career journal, and we're going to have assessment tools. We have topics, and we're going to share with you some of the secret sauce that we don't typically do on live.
Yeah.
But so this is going to be a special event. It's going to be a live event, so it's a physical one.
Yeah.
And we hope to see you there.
It's really exciting. We got lots of fun topics, new topics as well, and outlook on 2024. If you want to start 2024 on a great note, please turn up, and you can get more information on our website, careeragility.org/happy@work, and there are early bird specials. So please come in, tune in to the website and have a look and register fast, because the seats are being taken up very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's a good start for 2024, isn't it?
So today we're talking about slowing down. But why do you slow down? Because sometimes you need to slow down in order to speed up.
Yeah, there are certain things that cannot be rushed. Planting, for instance, you know, you can't rush the seed. You can't say, hey, if I put more water and then suddenly it sprouts.
Which is-
to each its own
Funny,
time.
I once had this friend when I was very young. She told me that her boss was rushing her on a project, and she said, "Look, I can't rush it." And she said, and the boss said, "I'll give you more manpower." And he said, "No, look, it takes one woman 9 months to give birth. It doesn't mean 9 women will take 1 month to give birth."
Exactly.
So
So some things take time, but that's our topic for the day: slowing down to speed up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is particularly pertinent because as we enter the year end, but we're not just talking about slowing down for the year end. We're talking about slowing down your career.
Yeah, but generally on the year end, everyone runs out of steam anyway.
Yeah, I know it's good to charge up. I think it's pertinent to both the year-end context as well as your career. But the big question we always get is it okay to slow down my career?
The answer is yes, it is okay to slow down your career. But before we go there, what is slowing down? So let's define it first. So Adrian, what is slowing down?
So slowing down, I think, has connotations of people slamming the brakes and
That's brake.
quitting.
That's a brake. You just brake the car and you slam brake and it goes screech.
And that's slowing down. Suddenly I quit my job. I had this client, this caller, she called me up about 3 weeks ago, and she said, I want to slow down. I want to slow down to a point where I don't mind taking a job that's half my pay because I want to slow down. And when I asked her, why do you want to, right at the offset, settle for half the pay? And she said, it's because I have my job now, I'm overworked, I'm over stressed and everything. And as we dug deeper, we found out that her boss actually was overworking her unfairly. Her team had 3 people who had left, no backfill. She was doing 4 people's jobs. So I told her, look, your problem now is not a matter of slowing down. Your matter now is getting into a job which does not burn your more reasonable resources, right?
Yeah, so her strategy maybe it's not to change job right at that moment, but to figure out how to get more resources, more headcount, more
and if you
more hands on
can't,
deck.
then you switch out. But that doesn't mean slowing down. Okay, it means slowing down on your side. You don't go and kill yourself in the process. But it doesn't mean that my strategy now is I want to slow down. I think your strategy now is let's get to a more reasonable job, because right now I'm overheating. The engine's overheating.
I'm quite confused. So let's get back on track. My question was, what is slowing down? And there are many as you all can hear, there are many definitions.
Yeah.
Some people slam the brake. Some people leave entirely.
Leave the car.
they just exit.
Let's use the car analogy today.
Yeah, and some people slow down. And so what we're trying to say is there are many ways to read, because everything is contextual. But slowing down literally means not to rush things.
True.
Right.
And I think for me, slowing down also means taking your foot off the accelerator.
That's right.
So not letting the engine brake by itself. It doesn't mean that you actively slam the brakes.
Yeah.
So it's slowing down just means stopping, not stopping, but just slowing down the acceleration. And I think that is a good strategy to have if you're talking about career longevity.
Strategy aside, it's contextual, and that's where it gets very tricky, and that's why you come talk to us, because sometimes it's a matter of managing up more effectively so that you can get the resources you need. Sometimes it's a matter of boundary setting. Sometimes it's compartmentalizing, and sometimes it's just your own attitude.
True.
So every environment is different. Like, so the lady that called us and said, hey, I can't slow down because my boss is being a bit of a slave master. Yeah. That's a different strategy again. And quitting is always the last resort. But occasionally it's turning down that stretch assignment. It is not taking on things that are not really part of your job. Don't take it on. Why would you want to help another colleague when you already have enough to do? Things like that. So again, there are many contextualized examples. Come talk to us if you need help. But again, the generic strategy here is, in order for you to be healthy, sometimes you need to take the foot off the pedal. We're not asking you to stop. We're not asking you to cut everything off. We are just saying, take the foot off the pedal a little bit.
So I think most of the time, if you don't slow down or if you don't take your foot off the accelerator, you might face the risk of burning out as well.
Yeah,
so slowing down is a
crashing.
good idea.
Because when you turn a curve, on a curve on the road, or you're turning left or right, you got to slow down, or you will crash.
Or you will lose control of the vehicle, right?
Because it happens right when you skid.
Yeah.
And so yes. So
Daytona.
in order for you to stay on track, we're looking at the Daytona game. Have you played that in the arcade?
Oh yeah, I was really
I'm
good at
terrible.
that. I was really good at that.
I bang into every single thing because I can't estimate the distance and the speed.
Luckily, you don't drive that way in real life. So that's
Terrible. But you realize that as you keep up the speeding, and when you go around a corner, you are definitely going to crash into the wall or the other cars, and then it slows you down even more.
Yeah.
So that's why we have this topic today, because sometimes in order to navigate something, you need to kind of slow down and be really careful about it so that you can keep your momentum.
So the short answer is it alright to slow down? The answer is, yeah, I think it's okay if it's part of your strategy.
It's always okay to slow down because I think you should prioritize your health.
Because can you imagine,
Your health.
even
it's
in a
important.
car ride, a journey, right? Can you expect to be accelerating all the time?
No, there are too many obstacles on
Yeah,
the
I
road.
know there are things.
Too many
so
stupid
traffic
motorbikes
lights,
and
yeah.
cyclists.
Correct.
I
So
know you're a cyclist, but seriously, sometimes these cyclists, they deserve every bad word in my dictionary.
Yeah, me too. I'm a cyclist, I agree, and I concur. But I think that my question for you is that under what circumstances do you think it's okay, to slow down your
Health.
career?
Always. I think that's the easiest thing, So taking the aeroplane analogy, when the oxygen masks drop from the ceiling, the instruction is to put one on you first, put one on yourself before you look after your dependents. Because if you're not healthy, you're no use to anyone. So it's always easier to put others before ourselves. That's what we do generally. We go like, no, we have an objective, there's an obligation, I must sacrifice
Team
myself.
goals.
No. You need to put yourself first. Easier said than done. That's why you need us to remind you that your health is in fact fragile. And if you're not healthy, there's no wealth.
Yeah.
If you're not healthy, there's no work. You can't work, then no income, even worse. So
What else besides health reasons? I mean, to slow down, is it maybe perhaps sometimes it's personal as well, family members, I guess.
Whatever.
Yeah,
I think if you have a higher purpose, that's always going to be more important. Let's say your children are having exams, and maybe you don't want to travel so much.
Yeah.
So definitely
that's true.
take the time out to be available for your children who are facing nasty exams.
Yeah.
Exams are nasty. full stop.
Especially if you're in Singapore.
Especially if you're in Singapore. Oh no, I'm certain there are other countries that are equally bad. The entrance exams to certain universities, for instance,
Oh yeah.
in Japan and in China,
Yes.
it can be very bad. So
It is.
if maybe you want to take a lower lower workload, just so you can be more available to them and boil soup and make healthy food, so that your children have something to come home to.
No, that makes sense.
Do you have any other ideas for
Well,
slowing down?
I think if you have a loved one to take care of, or maybe if you, like what you said, if you have a health issue, I think that works. If you sometimes just want to take a sabbatical because you've been working so long and so hard.
Well, that's a good idea. Not the sabbatical because you're working too hard, but a sabbatical to perhaps learn something new.
Or gain
That
a new
works.
perspective on things. So I know this person who literally went to Tibet.
Literally.
7
They
months.
went
Not the Brad Pitt 7 years in Tibet, but he took 7 months sabbatical.
to meditate in the mountain to find the holy man to give him the answers to the mysteries of life.
Yeah, and the answer he got was go back to work, you fool. You can't afford this. But he literally then he added a new perspective in life. And I think that's
I
really
think if you come back healthier and centered, I think you can accelerate a lot more.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea to slow down your career sometimes if you want to take on a new education. Sometimes you want to take your master's degree or something. You want to self-actualize.
But I think that's more on a pause rather than a slowdown.
You can slow down. You don't have to entirely pause it. I think there are many ways. Again, it is contextual.
It is
so
contextual.
certain jobs you cannot slow down at all. So you have to pause in order to go study.
Air traffic controller.
Yes,
Slow
yeah,
down.
yeah.
I'll only handle the first 6 planes in the air. The remaining 55, I don't bother. Let it.
But the world is so unique today that because remote work is a possibility, I think there are a lot more jobs now that you can kind of have your cake and eat it too. So if you can do like a part-time course and then you can do a part-time job,
Yeah, why not,
then you
right?
get
Yeah,
the best
yeah.
of both worlds, right? So I think that works. So again, contextual.
Yeah. But I know I always feel that there's a stigma attached to slowing down.
Yes, especially in Singapore.
Do you think that's fair?
It's not fair at all.
I mean, especially when you go for interview.
But I can imagine if I were an employer and I'm interviewing someone and this person is waxing on and on about how much benefit the person got from slowing down, I'd be like, this person doesn't seem to want to work. So again, slowing down doesn't mean that you are not motivated, but it can be misunderstood. So you got to be very careful how you express your slowing down or why you slowed down in order to come back to work now and how that has benefited you. You got to be really careful about how you come across so that the interviewer doesn't think you're not motivated. It's so dangerous.
It's so dangerous, right?
Yeah, it's almost like, here's an example. If I were to ask anyone and go, tell me about your most recent experiences, why is there a gap? Or the gap perhaps was a slowdown you did 2 jobs ago. and I ask you about that gap, and you express that, oh, I was retrenched and I took the time to look for another job. And I'll be like, okay, so what did you do? Oh, well, I went to Tibet, or I decided to travel the world, and it was really good. And then you go on and on and on about it. I'd be like, I would be thinking that maybe you're not quite motivated to come back to the corporate rat race.
And life's unfair that way, isn't it?
It is. It's all about perception. So if you need a little bit more help fine-tuning your narrative, come talk to us, because I'll help you to be a soundboard and to tell you what I think or what I might be hearing, because sometimes we inadvertently say the things that sound okay to us, but maybe it's read or accepted or heard differently.
Yeah. And the narrative has to flow. Otherwise, you come off sounding very fake, right?
Or defensive.
I think
Yeah, you got to be very careful.
It's like, what you want
I
now?
also think that the patriarchy doesn't work in favor of men for this
My
sort of
eyes are
reasons.
rolling up, patriarchy.
Yeah.
But you're right,
If a woman were to say, I took time off to look after an aging parent who was ill, or I took time off to help my kids with exams, I kind of like, okay, I understand. But if a man comes along and he says, oh, I took time off because my kids had exams, I'd be like, right, sure.
So that's
sounds like a bit of a cop out.
So that's a reverse patriarchy.
Yeah.
That is the
It doesn't work.
matriarchy.
It doesn't work in favor of men. So women, whatever works to our advantage, let's use it, right?
No, that's true. But one thing I really like about if you're slowing down, have a reason ready to explain why you're slowing down. I like that piece of advice because it helps to, I wouldn't say justify, but it helps to explain away why you decided to take it. My challenge is that if I have a health issue and I tell the person I'm slowing down because of health issue,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
a bit
and
tricky.
the interview, right? And then the interviewer can't ask what's your health issue because that's a private, personal.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah.
supposed to ask that question.
And some health issues are okay to share. Some health issues are not, because they're probably embarrassing.
I have an IBS. My bowels aren't going as well as they should be.
Let's not go there.
But even then, you don't want to be sharing.
No, you don't. You don't want to share
Especially
your
if
medical
it's a-
condition.
Especially if it's a mental health condition.
It's got nothing to do with your ability to do the job.
So let me ask you a question. As an interviewer, when you're interviewing me, and you ask me, why did I have a career break? And I said, I had a burnout. And I was burnt out, so I need to take. And I'm being very honest telling that to you.
Yeah, no.
Does that
cannot.
affect you
Yes.
or your opinion of me? Fairly or unfairly?
I am so sorry to say yes, it affects my opinion. And if I can find other candidates who haven't had burnout, I would probably vote in favor of the other candidate.
The people are so judgy, right?
It is.
Life is not fair.
It is unfortunate because, again, from the perspective of the employer, I'm hiring you there's a risk associated with hiring you, and if you turn out to be great, good, but if you turn out to be a dud, then my choice of hiring you is going to reflect on me, and I'm going to be murdered by the people upstairs for making a decision. It's not fair, but it is a risk I'm taking, and it's a calculated risk. So I would look at all the variables. I recommend not being openly vulnerable.
Yeah.
This is not a therapy session. An interview is not a therapy session.
Yeah.
So I recommend
I
that
agree with
you
you.
come across a little bit more stronger.
I actually had a candidate once when I was headhunting, and he told me he took a 1-year break, and I asked him, what's the reason for it? And he said, I went through a very acrimonious divorce.
I've heard that story many times as well.
And my heart goes out to him, but
it's not unique.
That's
There are many people who go through personal trials and
Yeah.
tribulations, and these are huge.
Should you
traumatic
open up like that much?
No, do not share your trauma. Do not share anything overly personal. There is TMI. It is TMI. So
But
no.
okay, but if it was a health scare,
Yeah, just say I had a health scare. I
I'm
took
okay
time
now,
off.
but I'm
yes.
okay now. Yeah.
And then there's a future forward to the answer. So I had a health scare.
I had an ingrown toenail.
I had a health scare. Stop interrupting me. I had a health scare, and I took the time out to ensure that everything is okay. I have a sign off now, perfectly healthy, and I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to work. I'm very excited about, and then you future forward the answer, meaning that you talk about what's next. You talk about the professional side of things. Convert the answer. So don't dwell. Please don't.
You've heard it here straight on the bare facts on Career Success Show, Adrian and Yen. So
Yeah,
listen to Yen. She's
we're politically incorrect, but I think we need to accept that the world is going to be unforgiving, and that it is a game you need to play, because in the corporate world, you shouldn't be openly vulnerable. This is not a kumbaya session at church, you know. So,
I know, right?
it's we are here to help the organization make money.
Yeah, I mean, there's the professional side and there's the personal side.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Again, it's contextualized. Let us help you if you want to sort of deep dive a little bit more and figure out where the threshold is for what is appropriate and what isn't.
So what do you think, Yen, are some of the considerations when it comes to deciding to slow down?
I think that if it's a part of your strategy, and if it is health related, and then the execution is a different thing. So today we're talking strategy, but in the execution, you have to be very careful how you navigate, who you talk to, how you negotiate your slowdown, if it's at all possible, because sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. But we must try. Yeah. What about you? What are your considerations to clients who want to slow down?
I think you need to timeline it.
Yeah.
Because you can't slow down indefinitely to a halt, right? Forever, right?
Or you just go to the boss and blindside the boss and say, because you've been brewing it a while, but the boss didn't know that you've been brewing this idea, and then one day it just break the dam. Broke, and then this tsunami of emotions come across, and then they go like, hang on, that's an overreaction to something that's kind of small. What brought that on?
We've seen that happen before.
Yes.
But timelining in the sense that, okay, the next year I want to plan for a slowdown, and then I'll slow down for the next 2 years. Maybe I'll do this. I want to focus on my kids, I'll focus on my health. Maybe I want to focus on a side hustle. But
don't tell the world.
Don't tell the world, but ultimately you want to timeline it. After 2 years, I want to accelerate again. Or I want to hover and cruise, it all depends on what it is, but start with the end in mind. And if you are deciding to slow down, it's not about slowing down and then slowing down and then slowing down, because if you keep slowing down, you'll come to a halt. But if it's your career strategy to slow down and retire, maybe because you've hit the jackpot or whatever it is, then
that'd be great.
It's fine. But you have to figure out how to timeline it with an end in mind, and stick to the schedule more or less.
I like that point. The timelining is an indication that this is a rational decision, not an emotional one. Yeah. Because if you wait until you're burnt out to slow down, it becomes an emotional decision. And sometimes we don't have the runway to navigate the slowdown in a way that is to our advantage. Because slowdowns shouldn't have to be a black mark or a penalty. In fact, it should be a strategic choice.
Yeah, slow down to speed up, and as I said about the timelining it, you have to think like what Doc said to Marty McFly.
What did he say?
He said,
I've forgotten.
Yeah, no. In Back to the Future 3, he was saying that, but the bridge is not completed yet. They were supposed to go train off the bridge.
Okay.
He said, you're not thinking fourth dimensionally. There's time. By the time you hit back in 1988, the bridge is gonna be ready. So you have to think fourth dimensionally, play four dimensional chess.
Okay, Adrian is too cerebral for me this morning. Fourth dimension.
You got to think fourth dimension, which is time. Okay, so you got to think that it has to be planned, and I think you need to get your narrative as well before you talk to the boss.
So the key considerations is your pitch. Your strategy, but the reasons, but also how you pitch the idea of slowing down. So what are some examples?
I would say that it depends once again on what your context is. And if it's a health issue, you can just tell your boss that, look, I had a health scare lately, and I think that my doctor actually suggested that I don't travel that much because of whatever the condition is.
Slip disc.
Traveling
on a plane is nasty for slip discs.
Ingrown toenail.
Oh my god.
IBS.
But hang on, we shouldn't be sharing too much.
No, but those are just my problems. Anyway,
among others.
So it's going to be okay if you can tell your boss
that maybe you need to reduce your
travel, the workload perhaps. But then the boss might think, oh, you're going to reduce your workload.
Does that mean you'll have one foot out the door?
Yeah.
So you got to be very careful how you pitch
less. Yeah. So you have to be very mindful. So come talk to us if you're in a situation, because it's no two cases are the same.
I think as a strategy, if you want to slow down in one way, but you can offer value still in other ways, because it's not a linear curve, isn't it? Because a lot of the work we do are strategic by nature as well. It's not always every day there's an event to run. So it's not impossible for you to kind of look at the realm of your tasks and figure out what you can still amplify and what you can reduce.
So here's a question. Is it okay to tell my boss that, look, because of health problems, I can still maintain the same workload, but instead of coming in 5 days a week, I come in 3 days a week?
Yeah, I can work from home a little bit more often.
Or maybe I've got a sick parent, or I've got a sick child,
or if I have to wear a neck brace because I've got a cervical spine issue.
Yeah, can I just work from home?
Yeah.
Or maybe I just want to set up a bed in the office so that I can lie down and.
Can I also then request for an OC massage chair in the office?
Food spa and
I'm rolling my eyes so much now.
Yeah, but I think everything's negotiable, and if you want to, instead of just slowing down entirely, but just negotiate take the edges off. Like
I feel like if you are coming across as being a lot more self-obsessed in how you pitch, boss, I have a problem and therefore I want to do this. Can you help do this? But I think the pitch needs to be about the organization and the value you can still bring more of. And so if you had to work from home, but what else can you offer in return that is going to be still beneficial in terms of the value equation with the organization, so you can continue to maintain your income? I think it's good to stop thinking about me and start thinking about what I can do for you. And I think that's the biggest strategy when it comes to communicating your need.
Yeah. So once again, the big question I want to throw at you is this.
He's always throwing questions at me.
Has there been a point in your career or where you deliberately slowed down?
Yes.
And then you sped up after that?
I have slowed down and I have maintained a cadence ever since. Then there are seasons where I'm very, very busy, but there are seasons when I'm very free. So I'm very happy to report that I have managed to maintain some level of equilibrium. And I kind of dance between the browning and the healthy and the brown and the healthy. And I think because I'll come to work and I'll be all grumpy. So a personal story. I think it was not necessarily a trigger, but I was feeling it already. Like the daily grind was taking me away from seeing, at the time, still 2 kids, and watching them go through their massive change in their early years, right? Between the ages of 2 and 4, there's just so many firsts. So, and then there was one evening when my helper and I were with the kids, and we were watching at the time some sort of an advertisement that didn't quite make sense. And then the helper said, I think it's something. And I disagreed with her. I said, this advertisement is about something else. And my child at the time said, Auntie is correct. So she went and supported the auntie, and auntie was obviously wrong. But so intellectually saying the wrong things, or perhaps, having the wrong inferences. And I was going like, that's another thing to note, that if I'm not around to kind of make sure that they're communicating and they're getting the right ideas and all sorts of things. I mean, she was lovely and she was with me for 6 years. And so overall, that was a major wake-up call. And then I slowed down. I decided to portfolio from then on. And I've been portfolioing ever since. It's just that career agility has just taken up all my time. It's practically full-time.
Yes, it is. But we love our work.
We do. And so there is a method to that madness. How about you?
Well, just 2 weeks back. Okay. And this is instructive.
It's a recent thing.
And this is instructive because when you talk about slowing down, it doesn't mean that you need to cut your job in half or whatever it is. Sometimes if you're just working too hard and you're feeling brown out at the edges, okay, then you can take a step back. So 2 weeks back, I was feeling very tired and very burnt out, and I decided to take, and very grumpy. Yeah, so she knows. So I decided to block out 2 or 3 days just to recover and recharge. And I booked up my appointments. There was also a very big deal that was coming, so I decided to let it go as well for myself, for ourselves. And it's just slowing down for a short period for me to catch up and I'm glad to say I'm back to normal again.
Actually, we can tell when you're a little bit more tired. When we're talking about the cases, you kind of glaze over. And no, not roll your eyes. You don't roll your eyes. You kind of glaze. I can see that when the moment your expression changes. And this is on Zoom. And I'll be like, Adrian, what are you doing? And then I can see that you're not really concentrating on the Zoom call. And Val and I will be looking at you going like,
I'm playing Wordle on the other screen.
I love Wordle.
No, I think
he's stopped listening. You can tell.
Cannot. I cannot focus. So, that's why it's
and I think what was the I think the phrase is I cannot brain anymore. I use that quite often as well, especially when it's a long day and we go like, Adrian, I cannot brain anymore.
Yeah. Interestingly, I had this client last week who asked me. She said, after a very intensive 2.5 hour session, she asked me, Adrian, how many sessions of these do you do a day? And I said, the long 2.5 hour sessions, 1. The shorter 1 hour ones can do 2 or 3, but it's very intensive and not back to back.
Yeah, I have in my youth had up to 8 meetings. There was a spate of exits from one of our major clients. This was back in the day, and I had no choice. But it wasn't me that allowed it, but the organization just plugged the candidates in. So I had 8 meetings. I forgot who said what. I could not keep track. Everyone sort of amalgamated into one persona, and I was mixing everyone up. Their stories, their names, their every personal detail, all the information was all just messed up. And I realized I couldn't do 8. But at the time when I was still healthy, I could manage 5. Today, I'm doing 2 a day on average.
On average, right?
Yeah, sometimes I do 3 and then I get really tired.
And that's where you go visit Mr. Osim Chair.
Always. Always.
Your go-to de-stressing machine.
I have a very emotional connection with my Osim chair.
This episode is not sponsored by Osim.
Not sponsored by Osim. We should ask for sponsorship.
But however, Mr. Osim, if you're listening, we don't mind having a Osim chair over here. We can run our podcast from the Osim chair too. So,
that would be great, but our voice would be different because it'd be leaning over.
It's very good. So
okay. We digress. We digress.
As always, we digress. But the big question once again is, if you feel the need to slow down, you don't really need to quit your job, or you don't really need to go to your boss and ask for a lighter role. Maybe just take a break, take leave, slow down. And if you're out of leave, take MC. If you're and I'm telling you this as a very naughty idea. Okay, if your bosses frown on you taking leave or whatever it is, your health comes first. Go and take an MC. Okay, you're entitled to
health
how many days of
first.
MCs? Yeah,
I don't know.
No idea either.
I don't know.
But
we have no policy in this organization.
MCs, MCs.
Stop wagging your finger.
I don't know, wag to everybody. It's the wag of the finger. Okay, MCs are meant for if you have a health situation. If you're feeling emotionally stressed, overstressed, burnt out, that legally qualifies
for a medical certificate.
Medical situation, for medical certificate. Go get an MC, 2 days, 3 days, okay? Because I can tell you that it works.
Take a health day. Take a health day just to disconnect.
Personal
Very
sharing.
important.
When my boy, I've told this story to you many times. When my boy was born, my first child was born, and it was an overwhelming confluence of events. First child was born. I was starting off in a new job, and it was so stressful. Baby crying, grumpy wife. The new maid was in the house, and the new job. I just couldn't cope, and my mind was going blank. And I went to see the doctor because I actually thought that I was going mad. And the doctor said, "No, you're just overwhelmed, burnt out." He gave me a 5-day MC. I said, "No, I got my work." And the doctor said, "Forget about your work, okay? Just go rest, charge up, and you'll be better for it." And I followed the instructions, and I actually was better. So if you need to take time off, think of yourself first.
Yeah, because the health is once it's fragile.
Yeah.
Once you have a condition, it doesn't go away, and then your insurance costs will go up.
Yeah.
Because it becomes a pre-existing condition. So it's best to prevent than to cure.
That's true. So if you're thinking of slowing down, there are lots of options. Come talk to us. Once again, we are available at info@careeragility.org. And don't forget, on the 13th of January, please turn up to our career event, and we're looking forward to sharing
Yeah.
the whole day with you.
One of the topics for the 13th, which is quite related to this, because we're talking about slowing down, but slowing down is one of the many anti-fragile strategies. So what we want to do is also, during the event, we are going to talk about resilience and how to be anti-fragile. And I think that would be very interesting and related to this topic as well. So yes, please block your dates, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, book your tickets now because we're running out fast. So come on, invite a friend, bring your spouse along because it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, your career is not just about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Work in teams.
teamwork makes the dream work. So once again, thank you very much for tuning in to our show. We've come to the end of the program and maybe perhaps the end of the year.
It is the end of the year. We are in December and nobody works in December. So we're also taking time off
So what
to
are we doing
recharge.
here? We're not working in December.
That's why we're taking the rest of the rest of December off.
Yeah, we want to share once again our appreciation for you tuning in, our loyal listeners. We love you, and if you have any questions, come talk to us. We really are charging up for next year, and of course, if you have any questions for us, just drop us an email. We're always happy to answer your emails.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and have fun. Jingle bells. Ho ho ho.
What?
Yes. See you guys. Bye.